Hello, everyone. Hello. EDP365 covers topics as explicit and strong language and is intended for strong audiences only. Topics may be sensitive to some, and everyday people may not agree with the views expressed during this discussion, but please keep in mind that we are giving you the point of view of everyday people with everyday situations. EDP365 is not afraid to go there. Good evening, everyone.
All right, and we're not afraid to go there, and we're not.
You know, I'm not. Like this.
Let's see if when the curse words come, if you say the curse word, or you like that B or that N. But anywho, all right. So welcome to EDP365 Facebook Live. Today is November the 5th. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Les.
And I am Chris Styles, and we're Everyday People 365 on Facebook Live, y'all. Let's do it.
So before we get into it, how was your day, Chris?
Yo, man, my day it was aight. You know what I'm saying? It was aight.
It was butter, baby.
It was good. No complaints at all.
It was butter, baby. Kid, cause you roll up in here like, yo, I'm here. I'm in the place.
I'm in the building.
Yeah, that's how you rolled up in here today. Chris.
I'm at EDP365 Central.
All right, y'all. So this how we do it.
That's how we do it.
Let's see. All right. So let me say this real quick because I know sometimes people don't always stay to the end. But to Miss Sandra Wilson, aka Black Connections. Just want to say thank you so much for that lesson you gave us on last Wednesday. That was so great. That's what connecting is all about. And thank you for the little circle, the little extra camera.
The selfie stick, yo.
Yeah, we're using that tonight.
I got it. You know what I'm saying? I told you I don't get it.
Chris showing off. He had to go and get one first. He's showing off. So yeah, but it's great. And so thank you, Sandra, for that. You know, that's all about making connections. She hooked us up with several things on last Wednesday. We filled her up with chicken wings. We filled her up with chicken wings last week. And
iced tea.
Yeah, we're going to give you more information about Sandy's event that's coming. I just want to know, can I call you Sandy? I just want to know, can I call you Sandy if you're watching? But we're going to share some more information regarding what Sandra, I'm waiting for the okay to say Sandy, has coming up. Maybe I got to be a friend or something.
Yeah, I don't even know.
But I feel like I should be calling her Sandy.
I feel like we know all our lives.
You know what I'm saying? Because we kicked it at Uptown Alley last night. We don't usually let nobody come in our wing night. We don't even get down like that. We don't even do that. But, anywho, did you taste the wine already?
No.
Oh, okay. So here we go. Y'all know how we do. So hey everybody. Hey Mom. Hey Gigi. Hey Sandra, if you're still watching. Hey Eleanor, our ACHUR. Keep Eleanor in prayer as she has a lot going on. Y'all know how I do. I'm not going to sit here in detail, but she does have a lot going on. Please keep her in prayer. Also, for Miss Chantel Cash, she watches the show every once in a while. Her son has passed. I don't remember what happened. I don't know if he was in a car accident, and I don't want to even put anything out there because I don't know all of the details. And so, of course, as with any parent, she's having a hard time dealing with that. So please keep her in prayer. A good friend of mine that I went to school with, Miss Edie Robinson, her mom passed, I think like a week or two ago. So keep them in prayer as well. All right. So again, good evening again, everyone. And we're gonna go ahead and get into it. Get involved.
Get into it.
All right. So here we go. Y'all know how we do. We taste some new wine. Now, y'all, for the last couple of weeks, I've been purchasing. Hey, Ash. I've been purchasing Dublin wine. And so I love them. It's like, I can't really say I've ever had a bottle that wasn't good, or flavor or what have you that wasn't good. I may have to get in touch with them to see if we can promote them, and maybe they'll sponsor in some way. But anywho, so tonight I was like, all right, let me try something different, because it's all about trying different wines, seeing what we like, seeing what we don't like. So tonight, y'all, we are drinking Childress Muscadine sweet red wine. So I'm going to go ahead and taste this.
It's so sweet.
And Antonio Scales has joined. He said, "What's up, fam?
What's
all right,
up?
fam? All right.
Yeah.
What's up, cuz? What's up, fam? What's up, uncle, brother,
That's
nephew?
right, all that.
All right.
You know, that's my man's right there. That's my man's. All right.
It's not too bad.
Not too
I
bad.
can do this again.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, Gwen.
I can definitely do this again.
This is pretty good.
And I think even with a little bit more chill, it'll bring the flavor.
Yep.
It'll bring the flavor out.
So again, this is Childress Muscadine Sweet Red Wine. They have different flavors. Hey, Alicia. Oh, y'all. Now, this how y'all know I don't be hating and I share love, because y'all know now I host blinged out parties, but Alicia Johnson is watching. I give shout outs to everybody. Alicia is the first person who started doing my blinged out t-shirts, and this is her work. This is I think the first EDP365 blinged out t-shirt.
Yeah, I wanted one like that, But he was blocking.
I wasn't blocking. You could reach out to her at any given time. So she did my first shirt for me. So shout out to Alicia. I still send people your way when I can't help them out. So yeah, Alicia did my shirt, and she's watching. For anybody who doesn't want to do a blinged out party with me, but wants a specific design, you can reach out to Alicia. Like I said, I ain't hate it. It's enough out here for all of us. It's enough out here for all of us. All right. So with that being said, we've done all the intro. What's up?
Now, what have you watched recently on TV?
Well, Wu-Tang is off, so that's out of here. I can't watch that anymore. I think that's off. Oh, let me tell y'all what Les is watching. Last night I watched Power, and I was kind of disappointed. Not last night, Sunday night. I watched Power. I was kind of disappointed. I didn't think it was that great. I think the ending was predictable. Because you could see it coming. You know, you could see it coming, but, you know, they doing their thing. They holding it down. Good thing is they're coming back in January 5th, so I'm excited about that. It wasn't a bad episode. It just wasn't the best that I've ever seen. But, you know, Power Confidential, they explain why, the episode went the way that it went. But,
you gotta go out with a bang in your last episode.
No, but it's not the last episode.
I mean, before the next one come through. You know, like your last one gotta be like, I'm watching next season.
I guess they're gonna do that in January. Because normally they don't do that. When it ends right now, it normally ends. So they normally don't do another season in January. All right, so wait a minute. Gigi said, Les, I can't wait to see you doing your thing in the web series and the other show. Girl, you do. Oh, thank you so much. That's so nice to hear. Sometimes I need to hear that, y'all. Sometimes I be at home in my own little, what's going on? What's going on with my brand? What am I doing? What am I not doing? But you know, with prayer, you know, I pray, and I know that God's going to do big things. I know it's a process, and I've got to go through it. But anyway.
You know what, Les, I'm going to just tell you right now.
Go ahead, tell me.
You are a hard-working, intelligent,
Thank you.
and beautiful person.
Thank you.
I don't care what nobody says. You're the most hard-working lady in show business.
Somebody told you different.
You know what I'm saying?
But I'm trying. You know.
Hardest working person in brand building.
And Chris, you doing your thing. That's why you the VP. That's why you first VP of EBO.
You know what I'm saying?
All right, so we're gonna get into the show. We got a lot going on. We got a lot of announcements, some things coming up, and so I'm gonna turn it over to Chris.
Alright, so this evening's topic of the show is, again, this is about childhood experiences that affect our lives. And Les and I are going to get into talking about some of our negative experiences and some of our positive experiences and what we have going on today. And, if you don't mind, you know what, ladies first.
Let me say this.
Ladies first.
My childhood wasn't traumatic or anything like that. I was born in Newark, New Jersey. I believe my mother provided a good home for me and my brother. And you know how people say, oh, we didn't realize we were poor until later and it wasn't a big deal. Even now, I don't think we were poor. My mother He's always had a good job. It's so funny. I was telling somebody the other day, how do you retire? When my mother retired, she got another job and was still making more money than me. I don't understand how it works. And I got a decent job.
Yo.
But anywho.
She hot.
But anywho, so like I was saying, I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. I moved to Richmond when I was about 15. Like I said, my childhood wasn't traumatic. My mother didn't beat me every day. And, you know, my mother didn't lock me in a closet or anything. I think my mother did a good job in raising me and my brother. I was separated from my mother for like a school year because she moved down here to Virginia because her job moved, and then I stayed with one of my cousins. And so, you know, again, even in that, it wasn't traumatic. My cousin Aunt Barbara, very stern, you know, there was rules and there were things that had to be done. So again, I didn't have a traumatic childhood. But, you know, the things that we go through shape us, whether it's something minute and small or if it's something traumatic, it kind of dictates where our lives will go. And it doesn't mean that if this happened to me when I was 10, that means it's going to affect me forever. Sometimes that effect or whatever it may be may change you to do something different in growing up. But this is the one thing I don't know why this sticks out in my mind. This was 100 years ago. I can't remember how old I was. I was super young though.
You 100?
Shut up. We were outside playing, and it was this boy. He was like the cutest boy on my grandmother's block.
Oh.
And crush. I don't know if he pretended to be my boyfriend or if he really was my boyfriend. And
cold crush.
But we played this game outside, and it was hide and go kiss or hide and go get it or hide and do something. And so he caught me and he kissed me. It was no touching the film because we were little. And he kissed me and he told the whole block that I didn't know how to kiss. But I guess now at 48, that's a good thing because I was super young. So I guess it's a good thing that I didn't know how to kiss. But for a long time, of course, it was like, I don't want to kiss anybody. I don't want anybody kissing me. So,
that was traumatic.
But I think anything that may have been, and I don't want to use the word traumatic because nothing like that happened. I think growing up, I think probably the people around me, not just so much my friends, but people just around, you know, who may have said things, oh, you're not cute, and you're not this, and you're ugly, and blah, 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 blah. I think those things affected me being young. And of course, you know, somebody says those things to you when you're young, you start to get insecure, and you start to feel insecure, self-conscious, and things like that. And I think it took me a while to get past that, you know, and especially if you feel like the people around you or the girls around you are so pretty or they have this and they have that. And then at that age, you know, you're listening to the negative more than you do the positive things. But it took me a while to get past that. And once I finally got past that, I saw that I had to help other people. Like I had a few family members who would come and say things to me, and you know, you have to find that confidence within yourself. You have to learn to be happy with you, regardless of what people say, regardless of what people's opinions are. You got to be happy with you.
Absolutely. So. And just to segue into what you were saying about being teased growing up. Well, let me tell you, my parents. We didn't live in a hood environment. Not that we ever did, but we were close in the hood. So 2 blocks one way or the other, now you're back in the hood. 3 blocks. So I don't really see the difference. I really don't see the difference in it. But I just knew a lot of the kids would tease me growing up because my parents dressed me preppy. You know, like other people be wearing like Nikes and Timbs. You know, I would have the hush puppies. I would have the shoes. You know what I'm saying?
The Argyle.
You know, yeah. She said the Argyle. You know what I'm saying? You know, I had the scarves. I had the just as I dressed a little bit older than what the rest of the kids were dressing at that point in time. But, you know, that kind of affected me for a little bit, but I just knew that I didn't get into too much stuff as a young child because of what my parents were able to buy me and get me. And I didn't want to mess that up, because if you mess that up and you come home, you know what's coming next, you know what I'm saying?
The bell.
You know, so every day we came in, change your clothes, get in some old clothes, and go back outside.
First blooper on the show.
Oh.
How's that happen?
Should I continue?
Yeah, go continue, because I gotta clean this mess up.
Oh yeah, you do. All right. So the next thing, I think a situation that really affected my life was that my biological father was not in my life, and when he was not in his right place. So, and sometimes that could be, it's a blessing in disguise, but at the same time, it's not a blessing, because as a child growing up, you know, you're thinking of all types of excuses. You blaming it on yourself that person is not actually being there for you. Robert said alcohol abuse.
Shit ain't funny.
But you know, and because of the situations that was happening, times that he was supposed to come see me, come pick me up, and he never did. That was really traumatic, because I didn't really trust men. I didn't trust men of authorities or any figures outside of my immediate family, like my brothers and my second father. I developed anger issues, and then when it came to even friends and relationships, you know, I loved hard, and because I was a nurturer by nature, it kind of put me in a situation where I'm going to take full responsibility for it. But as a child growing up, or a teenager, you really don't know right offhand. And sometimes even as you get older, in your early 19, your early 20s, but women took advantage of me because of the way I tried to treat everybody like a queen. And a lot of that had to do with, you know, learning and experiencing, you know, domestic violence. You see that in family structure, and you see that in and outside of your home sometimes, but never physically. When my mother got with her second husband, he didn't physically abuse her or treat her bad or anything like that, but prior to that. So that stuff never really leaves you. I did start drinking at an early age, about 9 or 10. I was introduced to alcohol probably way before at that point in time I was introduced to alcohol. So I was drinking at the age of 9 or 10. It was a way of coping and masking. And another thing that really affected me that was negative growing up was racism, which still exists today. I have no tolerance for it, but God is helping me to deal with that better, and how not to respond, not to react, and how to respond to those things. And sometimes we just have to go ahead and walk away, because if anything jump off, when you do some things, it's all gonna come back on me, and ain't gonna really touch the other person like that. So, you know, I had to learn and deal with that. Growing up, I hated bullies. I hated bullies and drug dealers, for real. Like, during my teenage years, and maybe I would say just peaking past 20, I used to fight the drug dealers. I used to fight the bullies, because growing up, you know, they used to get me. They used to jump me all the time. So when I got older, I got stronger. You know what I'm saying? So learned some things, and, you know, started fighting back. So it's crazy that when you're in a certain environment for so long, everything that you fight against, the things that you try not to do, you actually turn into that person. You turn into these things. So I would say I turned into a drug dealer by accident. Because I was I wanted to go back to college. Situation happened at college, and I wanted to go back, and I was determined that I was going not depend on anybody or anybody else to help me to move and get through. And I was offered to actually get out on the block and make some money to go back to college. And I was making so much money at the time that my primary goal of going back to school, I didn't go back until later on in life. I didn't go back later on in life because the lifestyle, the money, everything that comes along with that took over. Another negative experience that I had growing up, not that church wasn't supposed to be a negative experience, okay? But it turned out to be a negative experience. So I'm just gonna say it was like maybe, it was like 65, 35. I had 35 good times, 65 bad times. And that was really just because, again, I was very intelligent as a child. And as an adult, don't get that twisted, y'all. That came out wrong. So when reading the Bible, many times, I just had some questions that I need answered. So I came up with the questions. I came up with different things of that nature. So whether it was in church or wherever it was, sometimes what ended up happening was my response to my questions were so deep, they were so profound that at the time they didn't have time to respond or answer in regards to that, or they just didn't know the answer. So I kind of got put on the spot. I kind of was like, you can't ask any more questions in service. You can't ask questions in Sunday school. So where was I supposed to get the information? If you were supposed to be the leader, you're supposed to have the answers. You're in front of the congregation. You are XX title. So I'm just saying, like, provide me the answers, or can you steer me in the direction and get the answers? And they just kind of shut me down. So I didn't have a really great experience in church. And the next thing that I would say that I had a negative experience. A lot of people may have great experiences, but I've had negative experiences going to at HBCU, which is a historic black college or university. That really sucked for me. So I'm trying to change my view of HBCUs and different things of that nature. I've had better experiences at other universities or colleges growing along as I got my degree. So those are some of my major negatives that happened to me in my life. And now I'm going to share some of the positive experiences. Less experience with alcohol abuse.
Well, my experience is Chris wanted to do this show all by himself. And so what he did was he shook the table just a little bit. Wine came tumbling down.
She's gonna blame it on me. I did not.
So he knew that I would have to clean this mess up.
Touch it.
Now I gotta go upstairs and get myself together and pray that the floor isn't sticky.
It's gonna be fine, man.
So
it's gonna be fine, friend.
Y'all see how he all calm, and I think Chris sabotaged me tonight so he can have the show all to himself. Chris was in the box last week, y'all. He was in a little box by himself, and so I think he enjoyed us not being together on the show. So he took this opportunity to kind of just jack some stuff up.
So, just in the comment box, would y'all like to share just a little bit or bullet point some of your negative experiences that you had in childhood growing up? While I start to elaborate on some of my positive experiences growing up. So what I'm going to say about that is that, one of the things that I really loved and I remember is that my family really, they celebrated accomplishments. Whether you graduated.
I'm shining his shoes down here, y'all.
Whether you graduated from kindergarten or whatever that may be.
What is kindergarten?
Kindergarten. Is it kinder? Kinder.
It's your show. It's your show. It's whatever.
All right, cool. So we just talking about, you're dealing with kindergarten and things of that nature, moving up, whether it was a new job, whether it was a promotion, or whether it was anything that you're doing, even, me putting out my first book, second book and a third book and things like that. My family celebrated those type of things. So, birthdays, all that type of stuff. So I really appreciated that. And, they love to celebrate birthdays, because again, living where we're living, getting to the next year was a struggle. So, again, we just love to celebrate family, friends, birthdays, and what's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Wednesday. I'm going to be celebrating.
I can pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm glad y'all didn't see that, but that was funny. Again, a friend of mine, what's up, Carla? Again, happy birthday. Celebrate all for the rest of this month, and all that. So I'm going to be there. We're going to celebrate. One of the things that I was taught to that was really good, and I guess it didn't keep me on task, keep me on point all the time, because when I was off my square, I was off my base or whatever that is, I was really to the left or really to the right. And it took some time for me to come back to my base or the things that I was actually taught. So, but I do appreciate my parents and my family they believed in, if you focus and you work hard, you can achieve anything. And those in my family that did stay on task and get through everything that they had to get through, they're doing some amazing things with their lives right now. So, I'm glad to join those ranks. And they also taught too, is that whatever you do it 100%. Whether that's, I was going to say something, whether that's sex, whether it's riding a bike, whether you're driving, drive at 100% all the time. But I did learn that, it's not always true or possible to do that all the time. So I just say, do your best. Any and every day, anything that you do your best at it. Growing up dealing with racism and bullies and anything, somebody don't like you at work, and your boss is tripping, people saying stuff about you, gossip, whatever like that. I was just also taught and shown that, you had to stand up for yourself, because they're not going to be there all the time to help you stand behind you or stand in front of you. You had to learn to stand on your own, to stand up for yourself. So that was something that I was also taught. Let me go through some of these. Robert, that's real funny. He said, Chris makes women wet just by sitting next to them. Now, Robert, that is true. I got to tell you some stories, but I'm going to keep some of those to myself. He says, not like I'm any of my family members. I feel like a lot of them fear seeking growth and change. And Robert, that is true. There were a high percentage of my family members who, no matter what happened to them, they were resilient, and they always had that ability to bounce back. I had that in me. Sometimes it just took me a little bit more. When I was off my course, it took a long time for me to come back to the course instead of like jumping right back on the ramp again. As I went through the woods, through the valley, and gravel roads and places where there wasn't no road, stick forest, to get back to the road again. But I definitely know, and I definitely understand what you're saying when you're talking about that. And I guess one of the things too is that although growing up, a lot of people didn't listen to me because they said that I didn't know what the hell I was talking about, but they was like, man, but what you was talking about years ago, they was like, you must have an old soul, an old spirit, because, you talked about a lot of different things and you spoke the truth, but people didn't want to hear it because it was coming from a young person. So I don't know what that was about. But they also taught me to speak out, speak your piece with respect, when you talk to people, talk to them, be respectful of them, and talk to them and with respect. But at times it was hard for me to do that. And sometimes I even had to just close my mouth and bite my tongue because had I said what I really wanted to say, whether it was truth, whether it was the angry truth or hurtful truth, they was definitely going to get it. So sometimes I had to bite my tongue on that and move forward, but I definitely thank my family for bringing that out. I definitely want to say thank you to my mother. Thank you to my aunts and my sisters. Y'all showed me what it was, not only to learn, but how to treat a woman. But you can't really apply that to every woman. You try, but those who don't deserve it or they feel they don't deserve it will act like that. So in kind and in turn, sometimes you have to let them go. I think this is a big one for most people. As we're young and we're getting older, if we saw somebody with something else like, oh, they have some great shoes, or their parents drive a great car, or they have a big house and they got like 20 rooms in their house, and oh my God, oh this, that, and the third, blah, 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 blah. They wear great clothes. I was taught not to covet what someone else has because you don't know what they have to do to maintain what they have. And from some of the people that I know from my past, people went through some awful things to maintain a certain status of what they deemed. To me, it was just clothes, or it was just a house, or it was just a car. But for what they deemed it to be, they went through a lot of bad and negative things to maintain and keep that. Whether that was stepping on somebody else's toes, whether they had to knock somebody off, whether they had to do what they had to do. They felt this is their fame to claim, and they did what they needed to do to maintain and keep that lifestyle. So I'm glad that they taught me that not to covet what somebody else has or what they need because of what they may go through to get that or maintain that. This is a positive and a negative combined. Now, Les, I've also EDP viewers. I think I didn't know. My parents and a lot of people believed in me. They had a lot of expectation of me. I just didn't know that if I could live up to those expectations and do what they wanted me to actually do. So that was very difficult for me, knowing that I had a lot of weight on my shoulders. And although I was being pushed in the right direction to do certain things, I also, growing up, had a desire to fit in. And when you have that desire to fit in and be a part, a group, of a collective or a whole, you have to be careful of what that whole is or what that collective is about. And sometimes, irregardless of what they're about and what they're doing, you just don't want to be the odd man out. And I think a lot of people that I knew growing up who was trying to do right in my area, do right. What's up, bro? It caused a conflict within yourself, and also a conflict with your parents, your family members, and other people who want to keep you on the right track. And as you're going, you're kind of moving here and there, and you're moving on your own, and you're trying to do what's best for you. But when you're making those decisions, making those hard decisions day to day, doing the things that those other people was doing in my neighborhood, selling drugs, boosting, robbing, stealing cars, stealing from whoever they could steal from, just for whatever, just because it was supposed to be cool, smoking cigarettes, drinking, doing what do you call that? You know, that kind of golden brown. What is that? Dope doing dope. Smoking weed, things of those natures. I never really smoked or done any of that type of stuff. I tried it one time or another. It wasn't for me. I tried to smoke cigarettes. Wasn't for me. So those are some of the things that I experienced that I had to move. I mean, I actually involved myself and I tried to get away from it, but it wore me down over a period of time. So at the end of the day, I got into selling drugs, hanging out with the wrong people, doing a lot of things I should not have been doing for about maybe 10 years of my life. 10 years of my life that I cannot get back. But I don't think I would ever change that experience, because if I didn't have that experience, it wouldn't have brought me back to the foundation that was being presented to me, being the childhood and those type of experiences, how they affected me and who I am today. Les?
You ready to share the camera?
Do your thing, sweetie.
Y'all saw how he, again, pushed my drink. It fell everywhere.
Don't believe that, y'all.
He just monopolized the whole show.
You see that? See, this is that propaganda right there.
Now, I think last week we were talking about positive experience when the drink was spilled on me. He might as well just have thrown it on me. But
you want me to do that?
If you want this upside your head. But now I think you were talking about positive experience. Like I said in the beginning, I really didn't have a traumatic childhood. I think my mother provided a great home for me and my brother. I think a lot of the things that may have gone wrong growing up probably was decisions that I made.
Absolutely.
You know, and when you're young, sometimes you make the wrong decisions for the wrong reasons. And, you know, you try to grow from them and learn and do better as an adult. But growing up, before I moved to Virginia, like I said, I lived in Newark till I was about 15. And I mean, Newark was great. Newark was a great experience. Everybody on my block, we all played together. We went to the movies together, went swimming together, hung out late at night together. This is 18th Street in Newark, New Jersey.
Y'all was like
awesome. Yeah, and so, you know, it was that it takes a village to raise a kid, you know, and so that was it. You would down the street, if you wasn't doing right, Miss whoever was gonna say, get your down the street, you know what you're supposed to be doing. And so
I missed that too.
Yeah, so 18th Street in Newark was great. We went outside, we played with the kids down on the next block. So it was wonderful. And then living in Newark, most of my family at that time was living in Newark. And so I had a cousin who lived 2 or 3 blocks away. And so I would go over there and spend the night and have fun with those cousins. You all hear me talk about my cousin Sharice a lot.
Yeah.
And so Sharice is my cousin that lived like maybe 2 or 3 blocks away. Some of you know my cousin Shakira. Some people call her Aisha. And so Shakira, her mother and her sister Lisa, her mother's Barbara, they all lived upstairs. And so my mother owned a 2-family house. And so we were able to play in the hallway. I would go upstairs and play. Shakira would come down and play. And so, you know, that was great. And then moving to Virginia, of course, that was a whole different dynamic and experience because I didn't have any family here. And at 15, it's awkward making new friends or whatever. And so, you know, that was an experience. But again, it wasn't bad. I can remember great times hanging out and doing different things with my friends. And again, like I said, I think a lot of the things along the way in me growing up was me making bad decisions. But again, you know, you learn from those things and you find ways to move on and you find ways, or at least you try not to make the same mistakes over and over again. But like I said earlier in the show, you know, a negative experience and a positive experience can really change the direction in your life. Like I said, some people have a negative experience as a child, and it's like their life continues to go downhill because that's all they know. That's where they are, and they don't know anymore. When you may have another child who's going through the same experience, but they persevere. You know, they have that person that talks to them and, you know, try to encourage them and help them to do better. Like with my own children, Dre and Bree are like night and day, 2 totally different children. And so they both have their issues and things that they go through, but I think from them being small children, I've always tried to make sure I have the conversations with them, telling them to come and talk to me. If something's going on, come and talk to me. If I can fix something.
Baby, talk to me.
If I can fix something, then I'll fix it. But let's have the conversation. Because, again, they've gone through their own share of struggles. And again, as a parent, I try to encourage them, and that's important too. Have those conversations with your children, because sometimes it makes a world of difference as they get older. You've got to encourage them. You've got to help them to believe in themselves. And this is one more thing I'm saying, then I'll turn it back to Chris. When I wrote my second book, Choices, in the beginning of the book, it talked about the character being insecure and feeling ugly and not liking who she was and not hating her name, just a whole bunch of things. And when I was doing the rough draft of the book, there was a lady in the office that I went to, and I don't know, she wanted to read the book or something. I can't remember what it was, but she read, she's like, "Oh my gosh, can you talk to my daughter?" And I was like, "Sure, what do you want me to talk to her about?" And she goes, "Well, the kids tease her. She's overweight." I believe she said her daughter's overweight. "She's overweight and she's feeling insecure and this, that." And I was like, "Sure, I'll talk to her." But again, as parents, when we're talking about our own children, not just our own lives growing up, again, you got to have those conversations with your children. You have to be able to tell them, how to overcome things and how to be proud of who they are, whether they look like Halle Berry or whether they look like a character off of the Goonies.
They're going to go
through it. Right. And you got to be able to have those conversations with them.
And Les, matter of fact, when I was first starting to get to know my wife and also getting to know Les, and I seen the type of programs and things that they was doing at social services. So when my daughter came down, like my daughter has, like myself, at some point I was always taller, a little bit leaner and taller than the other kids up until a certain age. So then I was on catch up. But when I was small out, I was like kind of big. So my daughter experienced the same things, and although she was and is still to this day a beautiful young lady, I know that those type of things she still suffered from. People teasing her for being tall. They knew she was pretty. They didn't give a fuck. Skinny mini.
And kids are cruel.
They're cruel. And I was just trying to get her to understand at a young age that you're beautiful. You're a beautiful being, and no matter what they say, they want to look like you. They want to be tall like you, but they don't know how to express that and because they don't have that, they're going to take that anger and that frustration out on you.
But you know what else? A lot of times these kids want to look like what society says they should look like and how they should feel about themselves. Like, you should look like this girl in the magazine, or you should look like these girls who's on these videos and they're twerking and they're doing this and they're doing that. And a lot of times they get caught up in that. But again, like I was saying, because I just thought about something, again, constantly have those questions. Those conversations over and over. And sometimes you never know what a child is thinking. You see so many things on the news about a child who killed themselves because somebody bullied them or they didn't feel like they fit in. So many different things. And again, as parents, not just being a parent that tells your child and encourages him or her, but also be that parent that has that conversation with that damn bully you got sitting in your living room, who's making these kids feel like crap, pretty much. And so those parents have to have the conversation as well. We can't, of course we all want to praise our children and we don't want to think that anything is wrong with them. But if your child is the one that's the bully, if your child is the one that's tormenting kids, you have to have the conversation. And you can't go into these schools defending a child who's not doing the right thing. You got to discipline that child and let them know right from wrong. And I didn't get to read this story, but there was a story, and I really wish I would have read it. But the father, his daughter was teasing somebody in school. She was teasing another girl, and the father either made the daughter do something to help the girl that she teased, or the father did something to help that girl. But I can't remember. And I really wish I would have read that story.
And I wish that I was more like that father because I personally, I would go after the parent. I would go after the child and the parents. I ain't give a shit. You know, you hurt mine, I'm gonna hurt you, and we're going to deal with every consequence that comes along with that. So get ready. Here I come. I wish I was better at that growing up.
Get ready.
But and again, I didn't play that with them either. If they done something to somebody else and I found out about it, I did embarrass them. And a lot of times I embarrassed them in front of the people that who let me know that they were doing these things. So that's just the way I roll.
And you know, when you're talking about how your childhood affects you, again, when you've gone through a lot of things, when you've seen a lot of things, and sometimes things don't happen directly to a child, but it's what they observe. When you have a child who watches their parent being abused or abusing someone else, when you have that child who's watching their parents who engages in sexual activity in front of them, or they're drinking, or they're smoking, or whatever that behavior may be, like I said, it's not, I'm saying it's indirect because the mother is or the father is not doing it to them directly. So I'm saying indirectly, but those things affect the child too.
But they, you know, one of the things I did get to understand and get to notice, and I'm just going to bow my head on that for a second, is because even some of the aggressive nature or the way I handle things for my kids growing up, or they may see me do something in the street or how I may do certain things. Although I taught them different, they saw me do a lot of things that kind of contradicted what I was saying. So it's almost like, you know, you do what I say, not what I do. But I know that doesn't work. They watch and they mimic, and I had to get the underside to see. I really understood that because then my older kids had taught, because I was like, you know, don't hit or touch the youngest, because they were a few years older, and I know they were a lot stronger than she was. And if they hit her, they're gonna really hurt her. So she kind of took advantage of that whole situation, and she started bullying them. And so when I happened to see the bullying for myself, then I had to cut her up real quick and let her know, again, I see you. I know everything. I let you get away with it. I talk to you. But that didn't work. So now I got to lay hands on you. And I'm going to lay hands on in front of them so they can see, you know, I'm handling this. I'm not doing it outside of you seeing what's going on right here, right in front of you. I'm taking care of this. So hopefully, out of this example, she won't do that again. But a lot of times, that's how I kind of roll. If something happens, whether it's in the street or whatever, it's going to happen in front of a lot of people. Because you're going to be an example. You try to make an example of me, or you thought you were, what do you call that? You were insulting my intelligence. You was disrespectful. You were disrespecting me, son. So there's consequences behind those type of things. So I just had to learn and do a little bit better in regards to that. And while we're talking about this childhood experience situation, before we go on to what we need to talk about tonight, I watched my family fight all their lives for simple, basic things that every man and woman, every human being should have. But when you get in certain communities and you do certain things, people are going to try your intelligence. They're going to step on your trust. They're going to do a lot of things and still come into your face, be like, you know, I could have just been talking about Les to her her best friend. I'm just gonna make an example. Like if she had a man, I'd be like, yo, she blah 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 blah. Then I come in there, yo, what's up, man? You know, yo, we hanging out, ma. And you know you're doing that person wrong. Y'all need to cut that out. Y'all need to stop that shit.
You know what? That was just on Uncensored with Lisa Ray. What's her name? Lisa Ray McCoy. And she was talking about how Dwayne Martin, her and Dwayne Martin were good friends. And when she got married to that king or prince or whatever his title was, and how Dwayne and her husband became friends, and then Dwayne would do what she felt to be disrespectful things.
And it was.
Which ruined the friendship between the two of them.
Right.
So like, and that's like the second interview I've heard her say, oh no, I don't fuck with him, this, that, and the other, or whatever. You know, and that's just going back to what you're saying about, you know, well, you're saying you're my friend, but this is what...
This is your behavior.
You know.
And I do want to say this. And this can come from these, and again, all this still relates to childhood experiences, because I know we've experienced that when you had a friend of a friend and they might have been associated with somebody else, but because that somebody else didn't like you, then this person is saying, oh, you know, I can't hang around you. I don't want to be your friend because so-and-so don't like you. Things of that type of nature when you had growing up, it still happens as an adult. And, you know, we just have to learn to do better or just walk away. And I definitely appreciate you still being and staying in my life, irregardless of some of the people when I was here who I was hanging and chilling with for a minute. Not that it was terrible, but once they had a few drinks in them, they was terrible. And a lot of things occurred because of those type of situations. And I had to learn, like, you know, you can't always protect, or you can't always be chilling and hanging around with people who transform into a monster or another being, you know, when they have that stuff in them. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But outside of that, Les, you give your final thought. I'm gonna give my final thought.
But don't go anywhere because we got tons of things we want to share with y'all. My final thought is the things that have affected you as a child. If you're still dealing with those things, find out how you can. Do I want to say combat them, overcome them? Do you need to sit down and talk with a friend? Because sometimes there are some things we are holding within that we've never told anybody, and they're still affecting us to this day. Do you need to have counseling? And it's okay to go through counseling. I know a lot of people think, oh, black people shouldn't go through counseling. But if you need the counseling, go through counseling. But find out how you can deal with that so it doesn't continue to be a dark cloud over your head. And again, I can't really say a whole lot to that because, again, my childhood wasn't traumatic or anything like that. So I didn't have a lot of those experiences where, you know, it's like, oh my God. And the things that I may have been dealing with or may deal with is stuff that I probably brought on myself. But now I want to speak as a parent because I have 2 children and them growing up, and I'm not going to say what they dealt with, but in them both growing up, they dealt with different things. Be that parent that has the conversation. That's why I love Woody Winborn. That is why I love me some Woody Winborn. He is such a dynamic father. But have those conversations with your kids. And in 2019, you cannot be afraid to have those real conversations with your kids. I'm talking about sex. I'm talking about drugs. I'm talking about friends. I'm talking about all those different things that your child has to deal with growing up. You have to be that counselor for your child if you decide not to go into counseling. But you have to be that counselor for your child. You have to be that person that your child feels you can go to and talk to at any time. And if you don't have that relationship, find out in your family who can. Now, Bree will call me at any time and say, hey, can we talk? I got something going on, blah, 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 blah. Dre will go to my mom quicker than he will come to me, but Drayshawn does come to me when we talk, and he tells me about things that he's going on, and we have those conversations. But I built that relationship with my children where they feel they can come and talk to me Now I'm not gonna say everything because they don't talk to me about every single thing, but things that do bother them, we have had that conversation. So again, get over that. I'm not gonna talk to my child about sex, and that means that he or she's gonna be going out there having sex, and that means that I'm condoning it. No, have that conversation. And again, y'all, another shout out to Woody. Woody, I'm gonna stop shouting you out. But when we're talking about parenting, y'all please join Woody's group. What is it? A Word with Dad, and he gets live, raw, and uncut. Not in a bad way, not cursing and things like we do here on this show. But he just keeps it real in those shows. And I can remember being out with Woody and his son, and we were having a conversation, and it was like 3 adults having a conversation. Not anything raunchy or cursing, but a real conversation. And I could see the relationship that Woody has built with his children over the years, and I believe he has a young daughter as well. So again, like I said, as a parent, have the conversations with your child. Be that person that they can talk to, not the person that they want to run away from. But if you're not that person, can they talk to their father? Can they talk to their grandmother? But somebody they can go to when they're going through things. Because when you got a child who's impressionable, and they don't always know how to deal with things, you don't want them dealing with problems and issues on their own, because that can turn into something bigger that you may not want to deal with, like a child thinking about committing suicide or feeling lonely or getting to the place where they're isolated and you don't know what's going on with that child. So those are my final thoughts. Well, wait a minute. Robert said, did you want to read that?
Yeah, I'm going to read that before I get into my final thought. Robert said, counseling is needed for everyone. People will go to the dentist to get a checkup and have their teeth whitened to look good to the outside world. But inside their heads, they're the ugliest people, in their peer group, and wonder why they have a black cloud always following them. Wow. Robert, thank you for that comment. I agree with you like infinite percentage. I agree with you with that, and I had to change my own ways and change the things that I have to do for better outcomes to start happening in my life. I know some people say karma. They say whatever you believe in, that circle is coming around someday, somehow. And again, if you need help with dealing with things that are going on inside you, or the way that you treat people, the way that you treat yourself, seek out. I mean, I wrote an article for this mental health, emotional health magazine, and I told them at the age when I was like maybe 20, 22 years ago, I went to go seek help from a therapist because I was going through so many things, and they gave me the answers to a lot of pieces of the puzzle that was missing for me in my life. And once I understood how my childhood issues, my traumas and things kind of are affecting the way and how I'm reacting and responding to people in my situations, it made great sense. And once I found out what those things were, I had to address those issues. I had to accept those issues. I had to forgive. And I had to get better as an individual for myself. So you just have, I know it's not going to happen overnight, but again, we invest in a lot of shit in our lives that don't really make us better as individuals, as a person, not mentally, emotionally, or physically. So we invest in something that make you look good on the outside, like a hat. You know, maybe you got some Gazelle glasses and whatever that might be, some Nikes on, but stop dressing up, stop being cosmetic on the outside. You invest in wigs and shit, but on the inside, you fucked up.
Dressed up trash can.
Straight up.
Dressed up trash can.
Dressed up trash can. So we need, as minority, you know what? I'm not going to use that word, not even minority. But as brown, colored, melanated people, we need to dispel that stereotype that if we go to a therapist, we seek counseling, we do this and then that, I don't care what anybody think about me, because I did what I needed to do for being responsible for my actions and my behaviors and the outcomes and how I can be better and productive for myself. But everybody else around me, why would you want to have an asshole around you all day, every day, chilling with you, moving around you, suggesting bad things for you to do in your life and your children and whoever else? Like, nah, this ain't the time for that. It's not the time for that. It's time to move on and grow. So my final thought, I would just say that could be my final thought, because all that, what I really wanted to say is kind of mixed up and combined with that. But let me just run through this really quick for y'all. We all had childhood experiences that influence us positively or negatively. It is up to each individual to take responsibility, not for what has happened to you, but moving forward, manage your actions towards others. Manage how you feel about yourself. You need to feel good about yourself. And you also have to manage the treatment of yourself. So when I say that, I mean that not to have other people to kick you while you're down, not to have other people trample on you, or just treat you any kind of way. That's not what we was put here for. Be accountable for your mental and your emotional and your physical well-being. That means seeing a therapist. That means forgiving others and not allowing your pain of what you're going through to spill over and hurt others. I believe we can manage anything that comes our way, but we have to make a choice. Choose love. Choose peace. Choose communication and positive responses to drama. Don't cause any in the process, or just walk away. So that's my final thought for tonight's conversation, your childhood experiences that affect our lives.
All right, so we're going to go through this real quick. Next week, on next week's show, we are welcoming Apple Brown Betty of Petticoat Productions. She is hosting an evening of adult and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, infotainment for ladies only. So she'll be here next week to talk about that event, something great for women. So I'm excited about having her on the show. This Saturday,
lady only event.
This Saturday, November the 9th, is the EDO, and I just posted the link, is the EDO interest meeting. So come out, hear all we have to say about joining this great organization for entrepreneurs, brand builders, and business owners. Doesn't cost anything. It's going to be at the Central Library. Yes, it is free. Here in Chesterfield, Virginia, it's going to be from 1:30 to 3 p.m. Be there or be square. Again, this is a great opportunity for people who are interested in growing as a brand builder, business owner, or entrepreneur. I'm also going to put my website. You can go to my website to also get information, but I posted the link for Eventbrite for you to be able to go to get that information, and so you can actually read about that there, or you can reach out to me. My telephone number is 824-424-0337 if you want more information about EBO. Again, entrepreneurs and business owners, you can reach out to Chris as well.
1:30 p.m.
All right, so
Saturday.
Post number 2. Don't forget about
Lucy Court Boulevard, Chesterfield, Virginia.
Don't forget about post number 2. You can actually see it in the mirror. My banner, post number 2, spraying goes so no one knows. Everyone poops, no one likes to smell it. And I'm so angry because John Witherspoon will not be able to do my
he do a commercial
because he passed. But that is a great product. $3. This is great if you're going on vacation. Great if you're at a friend's house on that first night, or that date, bless you, with your new boo, and you got to poop. Eliminates the poop smell. And so I would put that before the show ends. I would put that link as well. Also, blinged out parties. Now, I didn't do this blinged out shirt. As I told y'all in the beginning of the show, Alicia Johnson actually did this shirt for me. But I host blinged out parties. I'm going to put that link as well. And all this is on my face, and all this is on my webpage. But blinged out parties. Ladies, let's get together, have a party. We can eat, drink, have fun, and create your own blinged out t-shirts. Also, if you're a brand builder, entrepreneur, or business owner, why haven't you had a business shower yet? I've had 2. A business shower is just like a baby shower or a bridal shower, except you're celebrating the launch or you're celebrating the existence of a new business. Call all your friends, tell them come over, and they will buy you things to help support your business. That's on my website as well if you're interested in having a business shower. Mm-hmm. So don't forget to join my groups, Meet, Connect, Promote, and that is if you are promoting what you do with your brand or business. ADAC, and that's for authors. And again, that's going to be, it's not a whole lot of stuff there, but, got some things in the work, and those things are going to be posted there. But I do try to provide and post links for authors events coming up, other authors who are selling books, those who I can, and like I said, some tips and different things for authors that we can share with each other. I think once an author, always an author. Working on 2 books right now, so I'm super excited about that. Also, Richmond, Virginia events and vendors. If you have an event coming up, if you're looking for people to vend at your event, post it there. And Gino is my Girls Night Out group. Gino! And there's just for women. Just post some Girls Night Outs that you had, some things that are coming up that, a group of women can participate in. I don't really have a lot of restrictions on my group. My only restriction is for Gino. Please, you all, if you have joined Gino, don't post things to sell. I got other groups for you to do that in. Gino is strictly for you to post information about events that are coming up that women can participate in. That is what that group is for. Also, if you have topics that you'd like to hear us talk about, you can reach out to either one of us. We'd love to have you on the show. The young lady who's coming on next week, I did not reach out to her. I don't know how she got my information, but her manager reached out to me and said, hey, can she come on the show? I'm like, hey, sure, she can come on the show. Send me her information. So I'm excited about that. If you have something that's coming up that you want to talk about, call me. Hey, Les, I want to be on the show. Hey, Chris, how can I get on the show? And I know this sounds odd to some people. And I've had some people to say, hey, you need to start charging. But when I started EDP365, it wasn't about money. It was about promoting each other. And so I know people get on me, oh, you need to charge people.
Blessings come my way.
And I understand, but again, that wasn't the basis of EDP. I'm all about helping people. And sometimes people don't have money to promote. Some people can't afford to do those things. And so this is one of the things that I will continue to do for free. I have other things that I can generate income from. And so I just want to help people, and I want to be that platform because there were a lot of people along the way of me growing as an entrepreneur that helped me out. For example, and I'm so mad I did not write this young lady's name down.
Okay.
But the manager for Apple Brown Betty, oh my gosh, I'm so mad I can't think of it. But I would definitely talk about it next week on the show. She helped me out. She did some promotions for Blinged Out Party, and I'm going to be posting those things soon. And once I post them, then I'm going to be sure to include the name of the young lady who did some flyers for me. And again, that was bartering right there. It wasn't, oh, give me some money. It was just bartering. And so, again, don't be afraid to exchange services with people. Hey, if I can do something for you, you can do something for me. Let's talk. Let's have the conversation.
And we need to get back to that to some degree until we really get the financial backing that we need to have.
Exactly. And we should be here to support each other, but, that ain't what everybody do. Speaking of supporting each other, me and Chris had a great evening last Wednesday with Miss Sandra Wilson. She is so funny. But she is the CEO of Black Connection. She's having an event on November the 29th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. She's going to have well over 50 vendors in the building. People are coming from Florida, North Carolina, Maryland, ATL, and New York. She's having Miss Daphne Maxwell Reed, who was the mom on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She is the wife of Tim Reed, and she's going to be there promoting. I didn't know she had 5 books, but she's going to be there promoting her 5 books, so kudos to her. This is going to be at Crossroads Center at 2016 Staples Mill Road. This is a free event. It's a free event. Go out and support. This is going to be on Black Friday. Of course you're going to spend money with the vendors, but you can walk in there, free, support the vendors who are going to be there.
And why, Les?
Because we got to support each other. We
gotta
help each other out. Gotta help each other out. Now, I will say this, and kudos to Sandra, that there are no more vendor spots available. But she is offering, you can donate an item to the expo and 100 business cards for her networking bags. Both Chris and I have already taken advantage of this. This is free, and this is great because the events that I have, you got to pay $10 to be in my brag bag. Sorry, you got to pay $10 to be in my brag bag.
And that's almost free too.
Right. And so you're in 100 of her bags, and if you want information, because I don't have her, I do have her number right in front of me. Mm-hmm. Her telephone number is 434-774 9882. Again, that's 434-774-9882. On Facebook, she is Black Connections. Reach out to Sandra if she wants to help a lot of folks. Let me share this information with you. I am a part of the web series, the book club. The author is Miss Valerie McAllister, and she is having auditions. She's looking for men to be in this great
I'm gonna try, y'all.
Web
put my
series.
skills to the test.
So this is what she's looking for. Tony, late 40s, early 50s, married to Jasmine, a professional author. Lester, late 40s, early 50s, married to Adrian, devoted to his wife. Sonny, late 40s, mayor of Richmond, political married, having a long-time affair with Teresa. Darius, 23 years old. Darius is my son. He's my son. Son of Denise, spends a lot of time playing video games, torn between doing the right thing and being influenced by the street. Devon, mid-20s to late 20s, drug dealer, and he is abusive.
Whoop his tail.
Keontae, I'm thinking that's what that says. Keontae, early 30s, Darius' friend, he's a drug runner. Omar, early 40s, charming, good-spirited, online, date of Sophia. Auditions, this is the part that you need to hear. Auditions will be held Saturday, November 16, 2018, 11 to 1 at North Park Branch Library, and that's Franconia Road in Henrico. Again, that's North Park Branch Library. And again, you can always reach out to me if you didn't capture all that information. And this there'll be a second round of auditions on on November 23rd from 11 to 1 at the new library on the Burnham Avenue. And again, this is all in Richmond, Virginia. And so you can reach out to Miss Valerie McAllister or email at thebookclubmsk@gmail.com again, or just reach out to me and I will make sure that you get in touch with Valerie. I'm going to let Chris share all the things he has going on. Don't forget to celebrate your victories, both large and small. And again, I have posted the information for the EBO interest meeting coming up on this Saturday. It is this Saturday. And I do want to say this. This is the last interest meeting that we will have for 2019. This is the last interest meeting. So come on out. Again, it's free. As far as money, it's free. But of course, you got to invest your time. But again, this is a free event. I've also posted EDP365.com. Ooh, I don't know what that says, but they don't say EDP365.com.
What?
You can go to my website for my post number 2 for business showers. So all that information is there, and we would love to have you out on Saturday. And again, just come out and listen. You never know, if this is the thing for you, or you can even come out and, I'm not going to tell you anything. If you want to know anything, you got to come out on Saturday. That's how that go.
You have to be there.
That's how that go.
So with that being said, the next announcement I wanted to make is that the 10-man panel I was a part of to discuss and answer questions for an audience of women referencing, or answer question 2, why is it so hard to find Mr. Right? And it was actually supposed to be on coming this Thursday, November 7th. That has been changed to December 5th, 2019. I have more information and more details on that very soon. I'm going to say later. So please stay tuned for that, because listen, ladies, I really need I want y'all to come out and grow. So you're going to have 10 male panels that are going to be asked different questions, your questions, and also questions of those who are presenting talking to and presenting questions for the panel. And you're going to get a live close-up 3D version of why it's so hard to find Mr. Right. And
you shouldn't be looking anyway. He should be coming to you.
You know what? That's perspective. And sometimes if you don't have that perspective and you go with the flow, who knows? You may just find him. He may be looking at the same thing you were.
Hold on, we gotta stop the show. We gotta stop the show. Hey, Brianna Turner. My daughter is looking. When Brianna steps in the room, when Audrey steps in the room, we shut shit down. What's going on, Bree? We shut shit down when the kids ain't watching. We shut shit down.
And so definitely stay tuned. I would love for y'all to come and participate in that. Or even if you don't want to say anything, you want to ask any questions. Sometimes you get to sit back and gather the information that you need to move forward. I'm an honest dude. I'm straight up, straight to the point. That's what it is.
Oh, and you about to break my table. He done spilled my wine all over my legs.
Y'all don't believe that's that propaganda right there.
Now he's breaking up my shit. This fool done got a new special camera or selfie in the back. Now he's showing her. Let me tell y'all what Chris did.
Y'all don't believe
Let me tell y'all what Chris did. So we sitting here, we trying to set up stuff. And so the camera, whatever this thing is, was kind of crooked. And so I was like, oh, you know, Chris, I can set it up. Y'all, if looks could kill, I would be dead right now. Chris looked at me like, don't touch my shit. I just bought this. I will fix it my damn self. So somebody got new because they got new equipment. I mean, it's fly. It's nice. I like it. I'm going to have to invest in for myself. But goddamn, Chris. Really?
Yo, on life. I ain't do that, Joe.
y'all, this how Chris looked at me when I went to go touch his new device, his new equipment. He was like, this bitch thinks she could go up here and just touch my... And Chris don't say bitch. He doesn't call me that.
Act like that,
Chris does not call me bitch. I just said that. But, you know, Chris was like, I know she don't think she's going to go up there handling this new equipment that I just got from Amazon the other day. Sit your ass down and I will... I will handle the work.
Now, see, this is what I get for trying to treat my friend, trying to treat a queen, be nice, and really, nah, I'm good. I'm good. But I'm gonna handle it.
Y'all saw how much the show Chris had by himself tonight.
See, because she had a lot to do prior to even doing what she's doing tonight. So I gave her that time to do what she had to do, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I ain't acting like y'all don't believe that.
Whole drink on my lap so Chris could play with his new toy. And it's nice, Chris. Don't get me wrong. I like it. It's nice. I want one too. But y'all, Chris got in here and showed his ass. When Chris walked through my door, when Chris walked through my door today, he was stepping. Yo, I got a new toy.
I was listening to old school music before I paid it.
Y'all, Chris comes in my house with this box. I'm like, yo, Chris, I'm thinking he done bought. You know, this is how we do. When I'm at Chris' house, he buys dinner. When he over here, I buy dinner. And so Chris comes in here with his box. Like, yo, this dude done went out and got dessert. I'm gonna get some sweet potato pie or something. I'm like, yo, what's in the box, Chris? Oh, this my new toy. Don't play with it. You can look at it, but don't touch it, because this is my new toy.
That's that propaganda, though. Use discernment.
Y'all saw my wine all over my lap after Chris done pushed it off on me so he could have the whole camera to himself.
That was her.
So I wouldn't touch it. You know. I know what's going on. Next time, y'all, I'm going back to my little tripod. My little holder that Chris done taped some shit up on his side. So what do you call those posts? They're not called posts. What do they call, Chris? What are those things that you stick up on the wall and you can pull them down later?
Oh, they sticky.
But what they called?
I don't know. Everybody knows what you're talking about, though.
So Oh yeah, that's what Chris been doing today, y'all. And look, y'all, this was new wine that I bought for me and Chris. Not just me, for me and Chris. This was new wine. Nothing in the bottle. You know why? Because Chris knocked my drink on my lap. I had to pour myself a new glass. Now I have no wine left.
Yo, I got a headache. Listen to this.
None.
Listen to this fool tonight.
Nigga shit. I don't have no wine left because of this dumbass new thing that Chris done.
I got a little bit left.
Thank you, Sandra Wilson.
Would you like to
I
have
got my own drink. That might be poison in there.
Matter of fact, guess what? There, look.
Y'all, tell y'all about Chris Styles. Tell y'all about Chris Styles. Y'all think he all mild and mannered?
I am, y'all.
Don't touch this new toy. Don't sit your ass down and I'll handle it.
Yo, I did not
Don't do nothing. I can control it. I can make it look right. Sit your ass down. I got this.
She lying. Oh my God.
I ain't even let my wife touch it. You think I'm gonna let you touch it?
Oh. My head is hurting so bad.
You think you can touch it? You got me some dinner and some wine, but you will not touch my new toy. Sit your ass down.
Sit it down.
I told y'all he was just waiting. Proof is in the pudding. I'm just gonna drink my wine out because I don't even do the close out for the night. So I'm just gonna drink the rest of my wine.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna let Chris handle it.
Hold on, y'all. I gotta get myself together.
Don't touch my new camera equipment. Just because I'm at your house don't mean you can touch my stuff.
Okay.
You know how much I paid for this?
I had to get myself back to center.
You know how much I paid for this? This was a whole check.
Oh my God.
You won't be messing up my shit. This was a whole paycheck. I spent thousands. I spent thousands on this equipment for your little EDP365 show. You know what heights I'm taking you to now?
Yo, this shit costs more than your phone. We gotta close out, yo. I know we gotta close out. I'm sorry. You gotta close out. We just having fun. But tonight, before I leave you, I would just want to say,
don't touch my new equipment.
Yo, don't. I can't. My head is about to split.
Hey, real quick, Carmelo, we having another EBO interest meeting on Saturday if you're interested.
Oh,
but if Chris bring his camera, don't touch it.
Yo, Tess me in the comments. She said Chris being stingy with his new toy.
Girl, he being more than stingy.
Yo, that ain't right, yo. For real. Like, oh my God. Yo, you ain't right.
If you bought some wine and some dinner, don't mean you can be touching nothing. Some of you don't even touch my new camera.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Oh, my
it's
God.
almost 8:30.
It's almost 8:30, y'all.
I ain't fooling with you, Chris Styles.
I got some more work to do tonight. So, with that being said, I got 2 quotes I want to leave y'all with, and then I'm going to close out. Develop patience before you become a patient. Did y'all hear me? Develop patience before you become a patient. I'm pretty sure when you read those lines, you hear those lines, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Secondly,
hold on, let me get a second one.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
And if you want to touch the equipment, buy your own.
You ain't right.
I'm sorry. It's the wine.
You are not right.
This is my camera.
That's a damn shame, yo.
It's better than that one you got.
See, right now, Les is not living constructively. She's living destructively.
Look what he did. Look what he did to my paper, y'all. This ain't nothing but wine that he spilled on my paperwork for the show. I'm done.
Yo.
I'm gonna let him close it out. But
So
I'm done. Hey, Shanita. I'm done.
EDP365. Again, we'll be on next week, 7 p.m. Tuesday night. So again, be there. Friend myself, friend Les. Ask your friends, your relatives to friend myself or Les. And when we go live, you'll get the link, you'll get the message, and we'll link up and we'll talk about next week's show next week. So again, we love you. And with that being said, y'all be safe, be good. I'm good. You good?
You good because I ain't touching your damn camera. But look, I'm thinking I'm being all slick and cool coming around on the side. I forgot you can see me in the damn mirror.
That's right.